The scanner made a soft beeping sound that made Jinna Lee look up from her work. She had been checking the same empty space readings for 3 hours now. The Kepler Nebula was supposed to be empty except for gas and dust. That was what all the EU maps said, but her scanner was showing something else. "Dr. Kim, you need to see this," Jinna called across the small bridge of the Eternal Seeker. The research ship was not big, but it had the best scanning equipment that money could buy. Jinna had been using those scanners for 5 years now, and she had never seen readings like these. Dr. Hyunwoo Kim walked over to her station. He was a tall man with kind eyes who had spent most of his life digging through the ruins of dead civilizations. He looked at Jinna's screen and frowned. "That cannot be right," he said. "Run the scan again." Jinna pressed the buttons to start a new scan. The same readings came back. There was something big out there in the nebula. Something very big. "Captain Park," Dr. Kim called. "We have a problem." Captain Taman Park had been reading reports in his chair. He was an older man who had served in the military before joining the Archaeological Survey. He did not like problems, especially problems in empty space where help was far away. "What kind of problem?" Captain Park asked. "The kind that should not exist," Dr. Kim said. "Jinna, show him the readings." Jinna turned her screen so the captain could see it. The readings showed a massive object about 50 kilometers away. It was 15 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. That made it bigger than most space stations. "That is impossible," Captain Park said. "There is nothing out here. We checked all the maps before we came." "The maps are wrong," Jinna said, quietly. "There is definitely something out there." Boram Choi, the cultural expert, looked up from her books. She was a young woman who knew more about dead alien races than anyone else on the ship. "Maybe it is a ship from one of the old civilizations," she said. "Some of them built very large vessels." Dr. Kim shook his head. "The scanner is showing that this object is made of materials we have never seen before. Also, it is not moving. It appears to be drifting." Captain Park stood up and walked to the main viewing screen. "Put it on visual," he ordered. Jinna worked her controls. The main screen flickered and then showed the view ahead of their ship. At first there was nothing but the purple and blue gases of the nebula. Then Jinna adjusted the view, and they all saw it. It was huge. The ship looked like it had been carved from a single piece of dark crystal. Strange metals ran through the crystal like veins in a leaf. It did not look like any ship design they had ever seen. It was beautiful and frightening at the same time. "By the void," Captain Park whispered. "How long has that been out here?" "The energy readings suggest it has been drifting for a very long time," Jinna said. "But there is something strange. I am detecting a very weak power signature. Something is still working inside that ship." Dr. Kim felt his heart beat faster. This was the kind of discovery that archaeologists dreamed about. A ship from an unknown civilization, still partially functional after who knew how many years. "We need to board it," he said. Captain Park looked at him like he was crazy. "We do not know anything about that ship. It could be dangerous." "It could also be the most important archaeological find in galactic history," Dr. Kim replied. "Think about it. A ship from a civilization we have never encountered. The technology alone could change everything we know about space travel." Boram nodded eagerly. "The cultural implications would be enormous. We might learn about a completely new way of thinking about the universe." Captain Park was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the strange ship on the screen. Finally, he sighed. "Very well, but we do this carefully. Full scans first. Then, a small boarding party. And at the first sign of danger, we leave." Jinna spent the next 2 hours running every scan she could think of. The results were puzzling. The ship showed no life signs, but the energy readings kept getting stronger. It was like something inside was slowly waking up. "The hull appears to be made of a crystalline metallic compound," she reported. "I have never seen anything like it. It seems to be both organic and artificial at the same time." "What about the interior?" Dr. Kim asked. "Large open spaces, corridors that seem designed for beings about our size, and thousands of small chambers that might be living quarters or storage areas. Captain Park studied the readings. Any signs of atmosphere? Yes, and that is the strangest part. The atmosphere inside is almost exactly like what we breathe. The right mix of oxygen and nitrogen. The temperature is also comfortable for us. Dr. Kim found that very interesting. Most alien ships they had found over the years had atmospheres that would kill them quickly. This ship seemed designed for beings very much like themselves. There is something else, Jinnah said. I am detecting what appears to be a central chamber, near the middle of the ship. The energy readings are strongest there. That would be where we start, Dr. Kim said. Prepare the boarding shuttle. An hour later, Dr. Kim, Boram, and 2 security officers were flying toward the mysterious ship in a small shuttle. Captain Park and Jinnah watched from the Eternal Seeker, ready to pull them out if anything went wrong. The shuttle found a docking port that seemed designed for their type of craft. That was another puzzle. How could an ancient alien ship have docking ports that matched their technology? Dr. Kim was the first to step inside the alien vessel. The corridor beyond the airlock was dark, but his suit lights showed walls covered in strange symbols. The symbols seemed to flow and change as he looked at them like living writing. The gravity is working, he reported back to the ship. And you were right about the atmosphere. I could breathe this air without my suit. The corridor led deeper into the ship. Dr. Kim and his team found room after room filled with empty chambers. Each chamber was just the right size for a person to lie down in. There were thousands of them. These look like sleeping chambers, Boram said. But why are they all empty? Dr. Kim examined one of the chambers more closely. His scanner showed that it had been used recently, very recently. According to this, someone was sleeping in this chamber less than 100 years ago, he said. That was impossible. The ship looked ancient. It should have been empty for millions of years. They kept moving toward the center of the ship. The energy readings kept getting stronger. Finally, they reached a massive chamber with a high ceiling. In the center of the chamber was a large crystal that pulsed with soft blue light. But it was not the crystal that made Dr. Kim stop and stare. It was what the crystal was showing. Floating above the crystal was a perfect 3-dimensional map of their part of the galaxy. Every star system was shown in exact detail. Every planet, every space station, every trade route was marked, and it was current. Dr. Kim could see the positions of ships moving through space right now. He could see the borders between the different galactic powers. He could even see their own ship, the Eternal Seeker, shown as a tiny dot near the edge of the map. This is impossible, Boram whispered. How can an ancient ship have a current map of the galaxy? Dr. Kim moved closer to the crystal. As he approached, new information appeared on the map. Political boundaries were marked. Military bases were shown. Trade agreements were listed. It was like looking at the most complete intelligence report ever created. Captain Park, Dr. Kim called into his communicator. You need to see this. We are sending you visual data now. Back on the Eternal Seeker, Captain Park and Jinnah watched the images from Dr. Kim's suit camera. They saw the crystal and the map. It was projecting. That map shows the current positions of the Vorthak Empire fleet, Captain Park said slowly. It shows troop movements that happened just last week. How is that possible? Jinnah was studying her own readings. Captain, the energy output from that ship just increased by 30%. Whatever they found in there, it is reacting to their presence. Dr. Kim heard Jinnah's report through his communicator. He looked around the chamber and noticed that lights were starting to come on. Dim at first, but getting brighter. We should leave, one of the security officers said. This does not feel safe. But Dr. Kim could not leave, not yet. This was the discovery of a lifetime. He moved to a wall covered in the flowing symbols and touched it gently. The symbols changed under his finger, rearranging themselves into new patterns. Boram, are you recording this? He asked. Yes, but I do not understand any of it. These symbols do not match any known language or writing system. Dr. Kim studied the symbols more carefully. There was something familiar about them, but he could not place what it was. They seemed almost like scientific notation, like genetic code markers. Dr. Kim, Jinnah's voice came through the communicator with urgency. You need to get out of there now. I am detecting massive energy buildups throughout the ship. Something is starting up. Dr. Kim took one last look at the crystal map. As he watched, new information appeared. Detailed files on the major galactic powers, their military strengths and weaknesses, their political structures, their economic systems. And at the bottom of each file was a date. All the dates were current. We are leaving now, Dr. Kim said into his communicator. But as his team turned to go, text appeared in the air above the crystal. Text, in perfect galactic standard, the common language used by all spacefaring civilizations. The text. The first shuttle from the Indomitable arrived at the Eternal Seeker 3 hours later. Dr. Kim watched it approach through the viewing port and noticed that it moved with perfect grace, making no sound as it docked with their ship. Captain Park had agreed to host the meeting between all parties. His ship was neutral, and Commander O had specifically requested that Dr. Kim be present as the person who had first boarded their vessel. Are you nervous? Boram asked Dr. Kim as they waited in the main conference room. Very, Dr. Kim admitted. We are about to meet beings from a completely unknown civilization. Beings who have technology far beyond anything we have ever seen. Gina was monitoring the docking process from her station. The shuttle has attached successfully. The airlock is cycling now. Captain Park straightened his uniform. Whatever happens, remember that we are representing not just our ship, but all of galactic civilization. Let us try to make a good impression. The conference room door opened and the first being from the Indomitable walked in. Dr. Kim was shocked. The being looked almost exactly like him. It was clearly humanoid, about the same height as Dr. Kim with similar features. The only differences were subtle. The being seemed stronger somehow, more graceful, with slightly enhanced proportions. Dr. Kim, the being said with a smile. I am Commander Jae-Sung-Oh. It is a pleasure to meet you properly. Dr. Kim found his voice. Commander. Oh, you look almost like one of us. Commander O's smile widened. That is because we are one of you, Dr. Kim. We are human. The room fell silent. Dr. Kim stared at Commander O, trying to understand what he had just heard. That is impossible, Captain Park said. Humans are a primitive species from a small world called Earth. They have barely achieved spaceflight. Earth is indeed our homeworld, Commander O said calmly. But we are not primitive, and we achieved spaceflight long ago. May I introduce my colleagues? 2 more beings entered the room. The first was a woman who looked to be in her 30s wearing what appeared to be a scientist's uniform. This is Dr. Yoon-ji Han, our Chief Science Officer, Commander O said. Dr. Han stepped forward and spoke in perfect galactic standard. Dr. Kim, I have reviewed your work on ancient civilizations. Your research on the Vorthak temple sites was particularly impressive. Dr. Kim was stunned. You have read my work? How is that possible? We have been observing galactic civilization for quite some time, Dr. Han said. We know a great deal about all of you. The third being was a younger man who carried himself like a soldier. And this is Captain Wan-Ho Kang, one of our fighter squadron leaders. Captain Kang nodded politely. Captain Park, your service record shows you served with honor in the border wars. We respect military professionals who fight for peace rather than conquest. Captain Park looked confused. You know about the border wars? Those records are classified. Very little is truly classified from beings who know how to look, Commander O said gently. Dr. Kim was trying to process what he was hearing. Commander, oh, are you saying that humans have been in space for a long time? That Earth has advanced technology? Not Earth itself, Dr. Han explained. We left Earth over 2,000 years ago. Earth sent out many ships to explore and colonize the galaxy. We are descendants of one of those colonial fleets. But why have you been hiding? Boram asked. Why pretend to be an ancient derelict? Commander O sat down at the conference table and gestured for the others to do the same. Because we needed to understand what galactic civilization had become before we revealed ourselves. What we found was troubling. Dr. Han activated a small device that projected a holographic display in the center of the table. The display showed star maps, trade routes, and political boundaries. The galaxy is controlled by three major powers, Dr. Han said. The Vorthak Empire rules through military might and treats weaker species as slaves. The Quillen Collective hoards technology and knowledge, sharing it only when it benefits them. The Nethys Commonwealth talks about wisdom and peace, but does nothing to stop suffering when it is inconvenient. And meanwhile, Captain Kang added, thousands of smaller civilizations live in fear, exploited by the major powers or left to fend for themselves against pirates and raiders. Dr. Kim felt defensive. The galaxy has its problems, but we have peace between the major powers. There has not been a major war in decades. Peace built on the suffering of the weak is not true peace, Commander O said quietly. It is simply organized oppression. Captain Park leaned forward. What are you suggesting, that you have come to conquer us? Conquer? Dr. Han looked surprised. No, Captain Park. We are not conquerors. We are gardeners. Gardeners? Boram? Asked Commander O stood up and walked to the viewing port. Outside they could see the massive forms of the human ships surrounding the gathered fleets. A garden grows wild if left untended, he said. Plants compete for resources. Weeds choke out flowers. Strong plants dominate weak ones. Eventually, the garden becomes ugly and unproductive. He turned back to face them. But with proper care, a garden can become beautiful. Each plant can find its place. The strong can support the weak instead of dominating them. The whole garden becomes more than the sum of its parts. Dr. Kim was beginning to understand. You see the galaxy as a garden that has grown wild. Exactly, Dr. Han said. And we have returned to tend it. With respect, Captain Park said. That sounds like conquest with extra steps. Captain Kang laughed. Captain, if we wanted to conquer the galaxy, would we be sitting here talking to you? We have 48 ships, each one more advanced than anything you have ever seen. We could have taken control without anyone even knowing we were here. Then why reveal yourselves now? Jinnah asked. Commander O returned to his seat. Because the garden is about to face a crisis that will require all species to work together. We detected long-range threats approaching from outside the galaxy. In approximately 200 years, the galaxy will need to defend itself against forces from the dark between stars. The room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Dr. Kim asked the question that was on everyone's mind. What do you want from us? Dr. Han answered. We want to establish a new order. Not through conquest, but through guidance. We want to end the exploitation of weaker species. We want to share technology responsibly. We want to prepare the galaxy for the challenges ahead. And if the major powers refuse? Captain Park asked. Commander O's expression became serious. Then we will show them why refusal is not in their best interests. As if summoned by his words, Admiral Yoon's voice came over the communication system. Captain Park, what is the status of your meeting? I am growing impatient with these delays. Commander O smiled and nodded to Captain Kang. Admiral Yoon has just provided us with a perfect demonstration opportunity. Captain Kang, please show our guests what one of our fighters can do. Captain Kang pressed a control on his wrist device. Fighter 7, you are cleared for demonstration. Through the viewing port, Dr. Kim saw a small craft launch from the Indomitable. It was sleek and fast, unlike any fighter he had ever seen. What is it going to do? Jinnah asked nervously. Nothing harmful, Commander O assured her. Captain Kang, please explain what Fighter 7 is doing. Captain Kang was watching a display on his wrist. Fighter 7 is approaching the Vorthak fleet. It is using precision energy pulses to disable their engines and weapon systems. No injuries will occur, but their ships will be completely powerless. Dr. Kim watched in amazement as the single fighter moved through the Vorthak fleet like a dancer. Each ship it approached simply went dark, its engines shutting down and its weapons powering off. 47 ships, Captain Kang reported. All disabled in 11 minutes and 36 seconds. Fighter 7 is returning to base. Admiral Yoon's panicked voice filled the conference room. What have you done to my ships? How did you disable our entire fleet? Commander O answered. calmly. "Admiral, your ships are undamaged. Your crews are unharmed. We have simply removed your ability to threaten others while we complete our discussions." "This is an act of war," Admiral Yoon shouted. "No, Admiral," Dr. Han said. "This is an act of gardening. We are removing the weeds so that better things can grow." Dr. Kim looked at his companions and saw the same realization in their eyes that he felt in his heart. The galaxy had just changed forever. These humans, these gardeners, had technology and power beyond anything the major civilizations could imagine, and they had decided it was time to use it. "Commander O," Dr. Kim said, quietly, "what happens now?" Commander O stood up and walked back to the viewing port. Outside, the human ships continued their silent watch over the gathered fleets. "Now, Dr. Kim, we begin the real work. We invite the leaders of the galaxy to join us in creating something better. A galaxy where strength serves wisdom instead of ambition, where technology is shared instead of hoarded, where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them." He turned back to face them one last time. "We invite them to help us tend the garden." News of the discovery spread through the galaxy faster than Dr. Kim had expected. Within 2 days, every major power knew about the mysterious ship in the Kepler Nebula. Within 4 days, they were all sending fleets to claim it. Captain Park stood on the bridge of the Eternal Seeker and watched the ships arrive. First came the Vorthak Empire with their gray warships that looked like flying fortresses. Then the Quillen Collective appeared with their sleek white vessels covered in sensor arrays. Finally, the ancient Nethys Commonwealth arrived in their elegant ships that seemed to be made of living metal. "This is getting out of hand," Captain Park said to Dr. Kim. "We should have kept this discovery secret." Dr. Kim shook his head. "We had to report it. That is the law. Besides, something this important belongs to all civilizations, not just us." Jinnah looked up from her scanner station. "Captain, I am getting communication requests from all 3 fleets. They all want to talk to us." "Put Admiral Yoon on first," Captain Park said with a sigh. "Let us get the worst part over with." The main screen flickered, and Admiral Sang-Ho Yoon of the Vorthak Empire appeared. He was a large, intimidating man with scars on his face from old battles. His uniform was covered with medals that showed his many victories. "Captain Park," Admiral Yoon said in his deep voice, "by the authority of the Vorthak Empire, I am claiming this vessel for study. You will transfer all your research data to us immediately." "With respect, Admiral," Captain Park replied, "this ship was discovered in neutral space. No one has the right to claim it." Admiral Yoon's face turned red with anger. "Do not test me, Captain. I have 20 warships with me. You have 1 small research vessel. Hand over the data or I will take it." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "Admiral, this discovery could benefit all our civilizations. We should work together to study it." "The Vorthak Empire does not share," Admiral Yoon said, "especially not with weaklings who cannot defend their own discoveries." The communication ended abruptly. Captain Park rubbed his forehead. "Well, that went as badly as expected." Jinnah put the Quillen representative on next. The screen showed researcher Dalsu Nam from the Quillen Collective. He was a thin man with large eyes who wore the white robes of a scientist. Unlike Admiral Yoon, he seemed excited rather than angry. "Captain Park, Dr. Kim, what a wonderful discovery," researcher Nam said. "Our analysis of your data suggests this vessel may be connected to the ancient Quillen civilization. We believe it could be a ship built by our ancestors millions of years." Ego Boram, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "Researcher Nam, our scans show that this ship's technology is unlike anything the ancient Quillen ever built. The materials and design are completely different." Researcher Nam waved his hand dismissively. "Your scans are incomplete. Once our scientists examine the vessel properly, we will prove its Quillen origin. This ship rightfully belongs to us." "And if you are wrong?" Dr. Kim asked. "We are never wrong about our own history," researcher Nam said proudly. "We will be sending a research team to the vessel within the hour. Please make sure they have full access." That communication also ended badly. Captain Park looked tired. "Last one. Let us see what the Nethys want." Diplomat So Young Bae appeared on the screen. She was an elegant woman with silver hair who wore the flowing robes of the Nethys Commonwealth. She spoke in a calm, musical voice. "Greetings, Captain Park and Dr. Kim," she said. "We are most interested in this discovery. Our ancient records speak of ships like this one, vessels that appeared in our space long ago bringing knowledge and wisdom. What do your records say about these ships?" Boram asked eagerly. "They speak of guardians who watched over the galaxy in its youth," Diplomat Bae replied. "Beings who guided the development of civilization and then disappeared when their work was done. Perhaps they have returned." Dr. Kim found this interesting. "Do your records say what these guardians looked like?" "Sadly, no. The records are very old and incomplete. But they do say that the guardians were wise and powerful, and that they would return when the galaxy needed them most." After the communication ended, Captain Park sat down heavily in his chair. 3 different civilizations, 3 different claims. This is going to end in a war. Gina suddenly looked up from her station with alarm. "Captain, the energy readings from the mystery ship just spiked again. Something big is happening over there." Dr. Kim moved to look at Gina's readings. The energy output from the ship had increased by 200% in the last hour. More concerning, the ship's position was starting to change. "It is moving," Dr. Kim said quietly. "The ship is no longer drifting. Something is controlling it." Captain Park stood up quickly. "Moving where?" "Toward the center of our formation," Gina reported. "It is moving very slowly, but it is definitely under power now." On the main screen, they could see the mysterious ship beginning to turn. Lights were appearing all along its hull. What had looked like an ancient derelict was starting to look like a fully functional warship. "Captain," Gina said with growing concern, "I am detecting new energy signatures from inside the ship. It looks like systems are coming online. Weapons systems." Admiral Yoon's voice suddenly filled the bridge as he opened a communication channel to all ships in the area. "All vessels, this is Admiral Yoon. The alien ship is showing hostile behavior. I am moving my fleet to attack position." "Admiral, wait," Dr. Kim called out. "We do not know that the ship is hostile. It might just be responding to our presence." "I do not take chances with unknown threats," Admiral Yoon replied. "All ships, prepare to fire on my command." Researcher Nam's voice joined the conversation. "Admiral, you cannot destroy such an important archaeological find. This ship could contain technology that advances our understanding of the universe." "Your understanding will not matter if that ship destroys us all," Admiral Yoon shot back. Diplomat Bae tried to calm the situation. "Perhaps we should try to communicate with the ship first. If there are beings aboard, they might be willing to talk." Dr. Kim had an idea. "Gina, can you scan the ship for life signs now that more systems are active?" Gina worked at her controls for several minutes. "Captain, I am detecting life signs now. Hundreds of them. And they are getting stronger, like people waking up from a deep sleep." "How is that possible?" Boram asked. "Our scans yesterday showed the ship was empty." "Maybe our scans were wrong," Dr. Kim said. "Or maybe the people on that ship were in some kind of suspended animation that our scanners could not detect." Captain Park made a decision. "Send a general communication to all ships in the area. Tell them we are going to try to establish contact with the mystery vessel." Gina opened a channel that would reach everyone. "Attention all vessels. The Eternal Seeker is attempting to establish communication with the unknown ship. Please hold your positions and do not fire unless fired upon." Admiral Yoon's angry voice came back immediately. "Captain Park, if that ship attacks, the blood will be on your hands." Dr. Kim ignored the Admiral and focused on Gina. "Can you establish a communication link with the mystery ship?" "I am trying," Gina said, "but their communication systems are unlike anything I have seen. I am not even sure they use the same frequencies we do." For several tense minutes, nothing happened. The mystery ship continued its slow movement toward the center of the gathered fleets. More lights appeared on its hull, and the energy readings kept climbing. Then suddenly, Gina's communication board lit up with activity. "Captain," she said excitedly, "I am receiving a transmission from the mystery ship. It is in perfect galactic standard." "Put it on the main speakers," Captain Park ordered. A calm, pleasant voice filled the bridge. The accent was strange, but the words were clear. "This is Commander Jae-sung-oh of the vessel Indomitable. We apologize for any concern our activation may have caused. We have been in deep sleep for a long time and are still adjusting to current conditions." Dr. Kim felt his heart racing. "Commander, oh, this is Dr. Hyun-woo Kim of the Archaeological Survey. We discovered your ship and boarded it briefly. We meant no harm." "No harm was taken, Dr. Kim. We detected your presence and decided it was time to wake up. We have been observing galactic civilization for some time. We believe it is time for us to make contact." Admiral Yoon's voice cut into the conversation. "Unknown vessel, you will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded for inspection." There was a pause before Commander O replied. "Admiral, we have no intention of harming anyone, but we also have no intention of being boarded against our will. Perhaps we can arrange a peaceful meeting to discuss the situation." "I do not negotiate with unknowns," Admiral Yoon said. "Power down now, or face the consequences." Another pause. Then Commander O's voice returned, still calm but with a new edge to it. "Admiral, we suggest you reconsider your position. You are not dealing with a single ship. You are dealing with a fleet." Jinna's scanner board suddenly exploded with new readings. "Captain," she called out in shock, "I am detecting massive energy signatures throughout the sector. There are more ships out there. Lots more ships." On the main screen, space itself seemed to shimmer and change. One by one, huge ships began to appear as if they had been invisible before. Ships, just as large as the Indomitable, positioned all around the gathered fleets. Dr. Kim counted them quickly. 47 ships, he whispered. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was held aboard the Indomitable 3 days later. Dr. Kim stood in the massive conference hall and marveled at its size. The room was larger than most buildings, with a ceiling that seemed to stretch up forever. Representatives from all three major powers sat at a curved table that faced a simple platform where Commander O stood. Dr. Kim and his team had been invited as witnesses, along with representatives from dozens of smaller civilizations. Admiral Yoon sat with his arms crossed, still angry about his disabled fleet. His ships had been restored to working order within hours of the demonstration, but his pride was still wounded. Researcher Nam looked fascinated by everything around him. He kept taking notes and scanning the room with various devices. Dr. Kim could see that he was trying to understand how human technology worked. Diplomat Bay appeared calm and thoughtful. She had spent the previous day touring parts of the Indomitable and asking careful questions about human culture and philosophy. Commander O stepped forward to address the assembly. "Welcome, all of you, to this historic gathering. We are here to discuss the future of our galaxy." Admiral Yoon immediately stood up. "I demand that you return my people to their ships immediately. This gathering is illegal under galactic law." "Admiral," Commander O replied calmly, "your people are free to leave at any time. They remain here because they choose to hear what we have to say. As for galactic law, we are not subject to laws we had no part in making." Dr. Han activated a holographic display that showed detailed maps of the galaxy. "We have observed your civilization for over 2,000 years. We have watched it grow and change. We have seen its successes and its failures." The display zoomed in on various star systems. In the Vorthax systems, we see worlds where billions live in slavery, mining resources for their masters. In Quillen space, we see colonies denied basic medical technology because they cannot afford to pay for it. In Nethys territory, we see pirates raiding defenseless ships while the Commonwealth fleet looks the other way. Diplomat Bay spoke up. "With respect, Commander. Oh, you speak of problems that have existed for centuries. Change takes time. We cannot solve everything at once." Captain Kang stepped forward. "Diplomat Bay, you have had centuries to solve these problems. Instead, they have grown worse. The number of enslaved beings in Vorthax space has tripled in the last 100 years. Quillen medical hoarding has led to preventable plagues on dozens of worlds. Nethys inaction has allowed pirate fleets to grow stronger than some planetary defense forces. The holographic display changed to show economic data. Dr. Kim was amazed at the level of detail. The humans seemed to have access to information that should have been impossible to obtain. The current system benefits only those at the top, Dr. Han explained. The three major powers maintain their position by keeping smaller civilizations weak and dependent. This is not sustainable, and it is not just. Researcher Nam leaned forward eagerly. What are you proposing? Some kind of galactic government? With yourselves as rulers? Commander. Oh shook his head. We are not interested in ruling anyone. We are interested in establishing a system where no one rules over others unjustly. A new voice spoke from the back of the room. And what gives you the right to decide what is just or unjust? Dr. Kim turned and saw engineer Yu Jin Moon, whom he had not met before. She was a quiet woman who had been working with some kind of complex equipment during the meeting. Engineer Moon, please demonstrate our industrial capabilities, Commander. Oh said. Engineer Moon nodded and pressed controls on her device. Through the large viewing windows of the conference hall, everyone could see space outside the ship. Watch the asteroid field to our left, Engineer Moon said. Dr. Kim looked where she indicated and saw several large asteroids floating nearby. Suddenly, swarms of tiny machines emerged from the Indomitable and surrounded the asteroids. Those are construction drones, Engineer Moon explained. Each one is about the size of your hand, but they work together like a hive mind. The drones began breaking down the asteroids, separating different materials and organizing them into neat piles of resources. Other drones took those resources and began building something. What are they making? Boram asked. A space station, Engineer Moon replied. Complete with living quarters, workshops, and docking facilities. It will be finished in approximately 6 hours. The assembled representatives watched in silence as the construction drones worked. What would normally take months or years to build was taking shape before their eyes in a matter of hours. Admiral Yoon found his voice first. This is impossible. No civilization has technology this advanced. Dr. Han smiled. Admiral, you are thinking about this wrong. You see technology as tools to gain advantage over others. We see technology as tools to solve problems for everyone. Engineer Moon continued her demonstration. The station we are building will have enough space for representatives from every civilization in this sector. It will have facilities for research, trade, and cultural exchange. We can build one in every system if needed. And what do you want in return? Researcher Nam asked suspiciously. We want you to use them, Commander O said simply. We want you to work together instead of against each other. We want you to share knowledge instead of hoarding it. We want you to protect the weak instead of exploiting them. Diplomat Bay stood up slowly. You speak of noble goals, Commander O. But how do we know you will not change your minds once you have power over us? Captain Kang answered her. Diplomat Bay, we already have power over you. We could have taken control of the galaxy without anyone knowing we existed. The fact that we are talking to you instead of commanding you should tell you something about our intentions. A representative from one of the smaller civilizations spoke up. What about our independence? Will we still be free to govern ourselves? Dr. Han nodded. More free than you are now. Currently, your independence is limited by the need to avoid offending the major powers. Under our guidance, you will be free to develop according to your own culture and values as long as you do not harm others. Admiral Yoon slammed his fist on the table. I will not accept this. The Vorthak Empire has ruled through strength for thousands of years. We will not bow to strangers who hide behind superior technology. Commander O looked at him with what seemed like sadness. Admiral, would you like to see what happens when we do not hide? Before Admiral Yoon could answer, Gina's voice came over the communication system from the Eternal Seeker. Dr. Kim, you need to see this. Something is happening throughout the galaxy. The holographic display changed to show a galactic overview. Across hundreds of star systems, new signals were appearing. Ships that had been invisible were revealing themselves. Stations that had never been detected were powering up. Installations that looked like natural phenomena were showing their true nature. 48 ships was just this sector, Dr. Han explained quietly. We have been watching and preparing throughout the galaxy for 2,000 years. Every major trade route, every military base, every population center has been under our observation. The display showed numbers that made Dr. Kim's head spin. Thousands of ships, hundreds of stations, industrial facilities that could build fleets in days instead of years. We have been gardeners for a very long time, Commander O said. We have been preparing the tools we would need to tend the galaxy properly. Now it is time to use those tools. Researcher Nam was staring at the display with his mouth open. How many ships do you have? Captain Kang smiled grimly. Enough, Researcher Nam. More than enough. The representative from the smaller civilization spoke again. What happens if we refuse to cooperate? Engineer Moon answered while continuing. To monitor her construction project. Then you will find that many things become more difficult for you. Trade routes that used to be safe will become dangerous. Technology that used to work will start failing. Resources that used to be plentiful will become scarce. That sounds like threats, Admiral Yoon said angrily. No, Admiral, Dr. Han corrected. Those are consequences. For 2,000 years, we have been quietly maintaining the systems that keep galactic civilization running. If we stop providing that maintenance, things will naturally return to their original state. Commander O stepped forward again. But we do not want to make things difficult for anyone. We want to make things better. We want to end the suffering that the current system creates. We want to prepare the galaxy for the challenges that are coming. What challenges? Diplomat Bay asked. The holographic display changed again, this time showing the edge of the galaxy. Strange readings were visible in the dark space between galaxies. Long-range sensors have detected evidence of massive artificial structures approaching from intergalactic space, Dr. Han explained. We estimate they will reach the outer edge of our galaxy in approximately 200 years. What kind of structures? Dr. Kim asked. The kind that are built by civilizations far older and more powerful than anything our galaxy has ever produced, Commander O said grimly. The kind that see young galaxies like ours as resources to be harvested. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. So you see, Commander O continued, we are not here to conquer you. We are here to save you, to prepare you. 6 months later, Dr. Kim stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable and watched the most amazing sight he had ever seen. Ships from dozens of different civilizations were working together to build a massive deep space exploration vessel. Vorthak engineers worked alongside Quillan scientists. Nethys diplomats coordinated with representatives from worlds that had never had voices in galactic affairs before. The galaxy had changed more in 6 months than it had in the previous century. It is beautiful, is it not? Captain Wan-Ho Kang said as he joined Dr. Kim at the viewing window. When people work together instead of against each other, they can accomplish incredible things. Dr. Kim nodded. I never thought I would see anything like this. Admiral Yoon actually complimented a Quillan engineer yesterday. 6 months ago, he would have challenged him to single combat. Captain Kang laughed. Admiral Yoon has been one of our greatest success stories. Once he understood that strength could be used to protect instead of dominate, he became one of our strongest supporters. The transition had not been easy. The first month after the meeting had been filled with protests, threats, and attempts at resistance. Several smaller conflicts had broken out as various factions tried to maintain the old ways. But the humans had been patient and consistent. They had not used overwhelming force. Instead, they had simply made it clear that cooperation brought benefits while resistance brought consequences. Trade routes protected by human ships became safer and more profitable. Worlds that accepted human guidance received advanced medical technology and industrial equipment. Civilizations that tried to continue exploiting others found their weapons systems mysteriously unreliable, and their aggressive fleets stranded in space. Within 3 months, even the most stubborn holdouts had begun to see the advantages of the new system. Dr. Kim, Jinna Lee called from across the observation deck. You need to see this. The deep space sensors have detected something interesting. Dr. Kim and Captain Kang walked over to where Jinna was working at a portable sensor station. She had become fascinated with human technology and had been training with their equipment ever since the first meeting. "What did you find?" Dr. Kim asked. Gianna pointed to her display. Long-range sensors show a massive energy signature about 200 light-years toward the galactic edge. It looks like one of the intergalactic structures that Dr. Han told us about. Captain Kang studied the readings with interest. "That is earlier than we expected. Our estimates said they would not arrive for another 150 years. Maybe they are moving faster than you thought," Dr. Kim suggested. "Or maybe there are more of them than we detected," Captain Kang said grimly. "Either way, this means we need to accelerate our preparations." The threat from outside the galaxy had been a powerful motivating force for galactic unity. Even the most skeptical civilizations found it hard to argue against cooperation when faced with the possibility of extinction. Engineer Yujin Moon appeared, beside them as if from nowhere. Dr. Kim had learned that she had a habit of moving very quietly and appearing when least expected. "Captain Kang, Commander O wants to see you in the planning center," she said. "We are revising the defense timeline based on the new sensor data." As Captain Kang left, Engineer Moon turned to Dr. Kim and Jinnah. "How are you adapting to the new galaxy?" Dr. Kim thought about the question. "It is strange. 6 months ago I was studying dead civilizations and wondering why they had failed. Now I am helping to build a living civilization that might actually succeed." "And you, Jinnah?" Engineer Moon asked. Jinnah smiled. "I love working with your technology. Every day I learn something new. Yesterday I helped calibrate sensors that can detect ships from 3 galaxy clusters away." Engineer Moon nodded approvingly. "Commander O believes that the key to our success is not just human technology, but the combination of human innovation with the creativity and knowledge of all galactic species. Each civilization brings something unique to the partnership." "What do humans bring?" Dr. Kim asked curiously. "Patience," Engineer Moon said simply, "and the willingness to think in very long terms. Most civilizations plan for decades or perhaps centuries. Humans learn to plan for millennia." Captain Taemin Park joined their group, having just arrived from the Eternal Seeker. He now served as a liaison officer, helping coordinate between human forces and the various galactic civilizations. "Dr. Kim, I have news from the council session," Captain Park said. "The Unified Defense Force proposal has been approved. Every major civilization has agreed to contribute ships and personnel to the joint fleet." "Even the Vorthak?" Dr. Kim asked. "Especially the Vorthak," Captain Park replied with a smile. "Admiral Yoon has volunteered to command the heavy assault wing. He says that if he is going to fight, he wants to fight against enemies worthy of his skills." Boram Choi approached their group, carrying a tablet full of cultural research data. She had been working with human anthropologists to study how different civilizations could work together most effectively. "Dr. Kim, you should see the latest integration reports," she said excitedly. "The cultural exchange programs are exceeding all expectations. Quillen researchers working with Nethys philosophers have made breakthroughs in theoretical physics. Vorthak engineers collaborating with human designers have created new ship designs that are both powerful and elegant." Dr. Kim looked around at his colleagues and realized how much they had all changed. 6 months ago they had been simple researchers studying the past. Now they were active participants in shaping the future. "There is something else," Engineer Moon said quietly. "Commander O asked me to invite you to see our latest project, something that we think will interest you greatly." She led them through the corridors of the Indomitable to a section Dr. Kim had never seen before. The corridors here were wider and taller, designed for larger equipment and groups of people. They emerged into a massive hangar bay where hundreds of people from different species were working on what appeared to be components for a gigantic machine. "What is it?" Jinnah asked in amazement. "It is a deep space gateway," Engineer Moon explained. "A device that can create stable passage points between distant parts of the galaxy. With a network of these gateways, we can move fleets and supplies across the galaxy in hours instead of years." Dr. Kim studied the device with fascination. "How does it work?" "By manipulating the fabric of space itself," Engineer Moon said. "It is based on technology we developed during our long journey between stars. We have been building gateways secretly throughout the galaxy for centuries, but this will be the first one built openly as a joint project. Commander Jae-sung Oh appeared from the other side of the hangar bay and walked over to greet them. Dr. Kim, I am glad you could see this, he said. This gateway represents everything we are trying to accomplish. It was designed by human scientists, but built with materials provided by Quillen miners, shaped by Vorthak engineers, and assembled by workers from dozens of different worlds. It is incredible, Dr. Kim said. How many of these will you build? As many as we need, Commander O replied. But the real question is not how many we will build, but how quickly we can build them. The intergalactic threat is arriving sooner than we expected. Dr. Han approached their group, having just finished reviewing sensor data from the approaching structures. The new readings are concerning, she reported. The approaching objects are larger than we initially estimated, and there are more of them. We may be facing not just one expedition, but an entire civilization on the move. How much time do we have? Captain Park asked. Perhaps 100 years, Dr. Han said. Maybe less if they have faster-than-light capabilities that our sensors cannot detect. Commander O was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he turned to Dr. Kim. Dr. Kim, you have spent your career studying civilizations that failed to survive. Their challenges. What do you think gives a civilization the best chance of survival when facing an existential threat? Dr. Kim considered the question carefully. Unity, he said finally. The civilizations that survived longest were the ones that could bring all their people together when it mattered most. The ones that failed were usually torn apart by internal conflicts when they should have been facing external threats. Commander O smiled. Exactly. That is why everything we have done has been focused on creating unity. Not unity through conquest or fear, but unity through shared purpose and mutual benefit. And is it working? Boram asked. Dr. Han answered. Better than we dared hope. The integration of technologies and knowledge is proceeding faster than our most optimistic projections. The joint research programs are producing innovations that none of our civilizations could have achieved alone. Engineer Moon added, the Gateway Network will allow us to coordinate defense efforts across the entire galaxy in real time. No matter where the threat appears first, we will be able to respond with our full strength. Captain Kang returned from his meeting with new information. Commander O, the Defense Planning Committee has approved the Deep Space Monitoring proposal. We will be deploying sensor networks beyond the galactic edge to give us early warning of the approaching threat. How early? Dr. Kim asked. With luck 20 to 30 years of advance notice, Captain Kang replied. Enough time to complete our preparations and position our forces.